Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the Almighty B-Live, the Money Man, Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Kool. And without any further ado, here they are, the Sports Bros.
Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddy Kool, a.k.a. the HOC of your favorite podcast, also known as the Sports Bros Podcast. And, of course, you know I don't do this by myself because trying to do a podcast by yourself and talking to yourself, it ain't fun. You gotta have some point men to throw it to. Some people to bounce ideas off back and forth. Just to have one say one is right and one say the other one is wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. So without me rambling, I introduce to you one more time, the Almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? Besides this hurricane, Asias, I want to say.
Aisha,
pray.
Never had. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. Whatever. Y'all can't sing anyway. But Eddy Kool, you might be able to sing. You got a trophy that says otherwise. But yeah. Overtime, we miss you. It's so hard. See, I'm rambling because the other guy on this podcast so badly wants to watch his Penguins lose again. I want to see him eat from that buffet that he was talking about. but I digress. Talk about that other dude. Go ahead and introduce him.
Man, if our listeners only knew the message we say before we get on the air. And you heard last week some of our outtakes, but that's neither here nor there. The pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, the one, the only, the Money Man, Scottie D.
Finally, the Scot has come back to the XFL. Yeah, baby. The XFL has been saved. The Rock has bought the XFL, and we couldn't be any happier here at the Sports Bros Podcast because we love the high-quality product that has been on the field of the XFL.
The sarcasm in your voice is sickening.
Well, I hear it dripping.
It failed before, and it will fail again.
I love the fact I gotta say it because I'm Scott. I screenshotted it and I actually posted it in one of the wrestling groups I'm in on Facebook. We said, The Rock has spent millions.
And millions.
Oh my God, that was genius. Again, listeners, we give you an hour to an hour and a half of material each week, but the amount of material that does not make it to the show and what we talk about on a day-to-day basis is absolutely hilarious. Oh my God. Woo. You a fool, yeah. Scott. You a fool. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bad product regardless. Unless The Rock actually takes the field and delivers people's elbows, the XFL is going nowhere once again. I feel bad that Rocky wasted his money. Anyway, enough of that. Eddy Kool, what we got cooking here today? What is Eddy Kool got cooking?
Okay, so we got a whole lot going on, fellas, because as you know, the NBA is back like bad breath in the morning, and the NHL, well, the cat came back the very next day, and it wouldn't go away. So, fellas, let's go ahead and start off with the National Hockey League. We had the New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes set the standard already for this year Stanley Cup playoff qualifiers. They came out of nowhere, and the Hurricanes were hitting, scoring, and fighting. Somebody got a bloody nose, and it was a very, very physical game. Yes, I did watch the game before I go to work. And fellas, what is your take on the return of the NHL? We finally got meaningful hockey back now as well, too.
Man, when I tell you, like Eddy Kool opined upon, man, it was beautiful. Like, it was one of the things you could instantly tell that these guys were hungry, ready. They've been sitting around for months. It's still training and everything like that, and the comforts of their own home. But now to be in the great country of Canada. And forget, but when I tell you, they came out the blocks. My Hurricanes scored within the first 5 minutes of the game. You've already got punches thrown. Oh my goodness. It was everything you could have wanted as a hockey fan. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it feels strange that it's, late July, August, and we're watching the hockey playoffs. I mean, this is unprecedented. Hockey, usually when the weather's warm, it's wrapping up. Somebody's getting ready to skate with a cup, and we're just getting this whole thing started. So I commend them. The NBA's got the bubble. NHL pretty much has a double bubble. They're doing this in 2 cities up there in Canada, and their coronavirus numbers have not raged the way ours have down here. So hopefully they can keep everything intact up there and get through this. The NBA so far, same thing. There has not been a lot of positive tests going forward. I was disappointed, obviously, the first night watching the Penguins go down to Montreal, because that's a team they should be beating. And hopefully the series is tied 1-1 by the time everybody listens to this podcast, because this is Monday evening. We're getting ready to have that game coming on here soon. But yeah, it's nice to have that back. And hopefully the NHL is successful. The NBA are successful in getting through their postseasons, because it's big question mark for baseball and football going forward here.
Yes, that is true. And the NBA, yeah, we're satisfied with the NHL. I know I am. Also, while we're talking about another sport returning, National Basketball Association, the restart, the NBA restart, and they gave us a hell of a game between the Clippers and the Lakers. I thought it was a good game, fellas. What y'all think?
Yeah, it was, just to have it back on the national spotlight. That was basically the same game that started the season back in October, November, whenever that opening night was with the Lakers and Clippers, and it came down to the wire. So that was a good game. Jazz and Pelicans was a good game. Kind of cool that Rudy Gobert was the guy that shut this thing down. He was the guy that scored the first points coming back out of the pandemic. To me, the weirdest thing of the whole weekend is the Zion minutes restriction. Does that bother you guys at all, that he's only allowed to play like 15 minutes a game? That seems strange to you guys?
We're gonna pitch that to you, B-Lab, then I'll go.
Oh, here's the thing. I don't think it's strange, because what exact chance does the New Orleans Pelicans have to make it deep in this playoff run? Because the way it initially set up, and I'm actually trying to pull up the standings. Like, I think like they were either like they were seeded 10th. So they need some things to happen for them to even make it into the playoffs. Because right now, their NBA agreed on 8 play-in games, and has to give, but basically, essentially, the teams that, because I want to say like in the Eastern Conference, 7 teams are already clinched, and there's like 2 teams that are vying for position. In the Western Conference, there's 13 teams that are vying for 8 playoff spots. So it's give a little bit of competition, give people a chance within the 8 games to try to make it back in. But looking at the standings right now, the Pelicans were 11th. They are 11th right now, and I think they have 6 more games to go to make up a 4-game gap between themselves and Memphis. So, I mean, they've got a tall order, and I think right now putting the minutes restriction on Zion is for his future. Let's not.
Yeah. Listen.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, he said, "No, listen."
Remember when we were watching The Last Dance, and they were talking about Michael Jordan being hurt his second season, and when he came back towards the end of the season, the Bulls needed to win like their last game or 2 to qualify for the playoffs, and he was on a minutes restriction, and they had him out of the game with the last 2 minutes or so. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember.
Zion's not hurt. This guy came back from an injury back in February when this pandemic was just starting to get going. He came back at the end and played maybe 2 weeks or so, 2-3 weeks.
Yep.
And now in that period since, he's got to be healthy. Now I know that he had the layoff, didn't play as much in the preseason, this second preseason that they had going on here, but the dude's 20. He's 20. I've been running every day for the past few months, and I guarantee you Zion's in better shape than I am because he's 20. I'm 47. He doesn't have to do
it
to get himself. Yeah, let's move on past that part. Zion is 20. And I heard an executive from the Pelicans come on the other day and say, yeah, we're looking out for him because of his conditioning and we're holding him to 15 minutes. You can get fatigue and have soft tissue injuries. Bro, he's 20. You mean minute 16, he has more of a risk than getting injured than minute 15. They had to take this kid out at the end of the game the other night because he was on a minute. He's on a pitch count like the Pittsburgh Pirates' whole pitching staff is, where they can't. You're only allowed to go so many. Come on, man, he's 20.
Yeah, I mean he does have age on his side, and just like B Live said, it's for the future, man. You got to protect your investment, but eventually it's going to come to a point where look, they're going to, it's Zion. They drafted you for you to show up and play in X amount of games. We're not talking about no 20, 25, 30. Probably going to play about anywhere between 60 to 70, with the occasional, night off and minutes restrictions and what is it called? What is the rest? What is it called? Not rest, but what's the word? Whatever the terminology is for it. Minute restriction.
Oh, load management.
Yes, that's it. Yeah,
load management is one of the other things that I very much hate in the NBA. Yeah, they're load management, but this guy needs minutes, not minute restrictions. You need to get this kid experience.
Scott, hold on.
If he pulls that hamstring, you just said it, they're not going to make the playoffs anyway, so he's got plenty of time to be ready for the. Come on, man.
That makes no sense to me. Why risk it right now? Why risk it for the biscuit?
A hamstring injury or risk a calf pull or a groin pull. That's the soft tissue injuries they're worried about. That he's 20. Come on.
20. He hold 20.
Well, I'm sorry, but they really do you really think the Pelicans have a chance against your Lakers right now? The Clippers, the Rockets that are playing ridiculous right now?
No.
Right.
So let's get in and get valuable experience playing these games, playing against these guys. He missed
nothing valuable about this. There's
missed several months. I mean, now you have a chance to put your franchise player out there, see what he's got, get him some experience, and you pull him out of crunch time because he played 15 minutes. Come on, dude. If he wasn't playing down there, he'd be in a gym somewhere or a playground playing probably like 9 hours a day from sun up to sundown. That's ridiculous.
I'm gonna say this for you. I'm gonna say this for you, Scott. You enlighten me, sir. I get.
You're lucky to have me.
Don't do that. Just let me roll what I'm about to say. I get what you're saying. Why even go into bubble if you're not going to play the man anyway? I get it.
Okay, good. I'll go with that too.
All right. I'll help you out with your argument, but still, again, like I said, they really don't have a competitive chance. So it's one of those things where I almost think it's almost out of obligation that Zion is in the bowl because they're trying to make him like the next face of the NBA. So, because I also thought it was,
and he could be. He very well could be.
I honestly thought it was ridiculous even to have these bottom dwelling teams. Do you understand that the New Orleans Pelicans are 10 games under 500? Why are they in the bubble?
Yeah, they're not going to make.
Yeah, they are what 28 and 30. Well, let's go from the bottom. Let's go from real quick from 11 to 8. The Pelicans, like you said, 10 games under 500, 28-38. Then we got the Blazers at 30 and 38. Then we have the Spurs at 29 and 36, and then the Grizzlies at 32 and 35, and then we just got the Dallas Mavericks at 40 and 29.
And see, because I think it was sort of just it should have been 16 teams. I think it's clear cut looking at these standings. Like, I haven't really looked at the standings, but I'm looking at it right now. It should have been just 16 teams. But the reason why is because the NBA wanted to have their face Zion Williamson, so they made a little tweak to make it like a competitive thing, to give people a chance to sort of ease the naysayers and say, oh man, we were just getting hot and then COVID-19 happened. So man, we can put it together and da-da-da. I just saw the most ridiculous thing in the world. The Washington Wizards are 19 games under 500.
24 of them 42.
That's ridiculous. Why they in the bubble? Why? For what? They are now 7.5 games behind the 8th-seeded Brooklyn Nets. Why? For what? Who? and they've lost the 3 games in the bubble. Go home. Just pack it up right now. You don't even need it. You don't get to play no more. You're literally giving other teams wins that probably don't deserve them.
Hot, fresh L's, hot, fresh W's. That's what they are doing. Man, this talk about Zion in the playoffs got y'all heated. I'm gonna have to put y'all on the basketball court.
I would die right now. Yeah, I'm not in shape at all.
Yeah.
Neither am I. But you know who is in shape?
Zion. All right, so looking at the NBA as of right now, all the teams that clinched in the East: Bucks, Raptors, Celtics, the Heat, not the Heats, the Heat, the Pacers, and the 76ers. And there's a dogfight between the Magic and the Nets for the 7 and 8 spot. And then the Magic just lost a guy for the season with an ACL injury. And then the Nets.
Don't they? Sorry, I mean to cut you off, but don't they have to have a play-in if the 9th team is within 4 games of the 8th team?
I think. I think that's going to be the case in the West. So the Pelicans still actually have a realistic chance because they're only a game and a half behind the Spurs. But they get so they actually do have a chance. So play the man. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Just like I said a few weeks ago when baseball started, man, we just happy to have some live sports back. I think that's what it is. And I can tell, I'm like, man, my guys, they excited. They talking about live sports. I'm over here grinning. I'm looking at the time clock. I'm looking at the notes. I'm like, I'm going to let them go a little extra because it's in the heat of the moment. And it's getting good. And they're fighting. And speaking of fighting, fellas, what in the world is going on with Major League Baseball? Last week, the coronavirus ran through the whole Marlins organization. A couple series got postponed. And right before we went on air, the Tigers and the Cardinals suspended their series as 13 members of the St. Louis Cardinals organization tested positive for the coronavirus. So here's what we have here, fellas. In the NHL, no new numbers. In the NBA, Lou Williams out there getting chicken wings. I ain't mad at him. And if you haven't seen the video, please watch the return of Tranquilo Thursday and find out why I'm not mad at Lou Williams, and you shouldn't be either. And now on the other spectrum, we have baseball. Fellas, what are we to make of this here situation in Commissioner Manfred's Major League Baseball? Because he said, I ain't no quitter.
That had to be the most irresponsible thing I've ever heard from a commissioner, a leader. I ain't no quitter. I get the stance that he's trying to make, because nobody wants to go backwards. And I'm gonna say this. I think it's a good chance that we'll continue on with the baseball season, because there has to be a plan in place for to be able to postpone these games and move these games. And now doubleheaders are going to be 7 innings as opposed to 9, to try to ease the give us something. I get it, but man, if these Major League Baseball teams don't go somewhere and sat down, because there's been reports of them just going out and just doing any old little thing wherever they go, and you would think in the situation that we're in right now that this would be like you just sit down. Get in the hotel room, sit down, order you some DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates, watch a movie. Just don't.
They're dumb. They're dumb.
It's,
And there's more dumb players in the NFL. That's why the NFL season's not going to happen either. I mean, could you imagine like if Johnny Manziel was still in the league and you say, "Hey,
Lord.
you have to isolate yourself. You're not going out." He couldn't do it. He's dumb. How about you guys remember Joseph Randle played for the Cowboys, getting a nice paycheck and went out and stole underwear, shoplifted underwear. That's the kind of people that are in the NFL. Dumb guys like Johnny Manziel and Joseph Randle.
Oh yeah, Joseph Randle. I remember him. He was the one stealing drawers, right?
Yeah, he stole a drawer. Yeah,
stealing the underwear thief.
Yeah,
that's
the guy's got plenty of money. He's the starting running back of the Cowboys, and he does stuff like that.
It's the Cowboys. What
I digress. You digress.
I don't digress nothing. It's the Cowboys.
Their
players,
dumb.
Their players are dumb. Their fans are dumb. Their owner is dumb. The whole organization is dumb. America's team. America looking real dumb right now. I'm sorry.
What?
Right, I'm glad you got that out of your system. But anyway, the point is there were young, dumb athletes in all these sports. And the NBA and the NHL are controlling theirs. And baseball is giving freedom to theirs. And the NFL is going to give freedom to theirs. And because there's a worldwide pandemic, the freedom is going to come back and bite us in the ass the way it did with the Cardinals and Tigers series here. I mean, this isn't going to be the last series postponed. This is the second big one already. You had the Marlins situation last week. We got the Cardinals situation this week. Next week when we'll be talking about probably another team. And the NFL they're crazy if they think they're going to be able to avoid that. But I understand the commissioner not wanting to give up on this because baseball does have a realistic chance of trying to get through it. I mean, we're down to a 50-game season now. I got to get through another month and a half, 6 weeks, 7 weeks to get to the finish line. I don't know. I hope they can do it. The fun part of the week, though, was the Astros and Dodgers, though, right? I mean, that was fun.
Yeah, with Joe Kelly. He said, look, I'm just going to throw the ball. You know I'm coming for you. I played for Boston when you jokers beat us in the ALCS. Now I'm playing for the Dodgers. And guess what? Never forget. Nah.
The funny part is, you know, when we were talking about this before the pandemic started about how we were looking forward to seeing how teams were going to play the Astros. Were they going to throw at them? They're going to beat them, move them off the plate and all that. And we kind of felt like they're the bad guys, and if that happens, they deserve it. But Joe Kelly is also a bad guy. You know, he was with Boston when they won the World Series the year after, and that was suspect. Mm-hmm. And Joe Kelly has been like he's been a career D-bag, to put it nicely. This is like the Joker thrown at the Riddler, or Hannibal Lecter thrown at Darth Vader, or Nancy Pelosi throwing at Nancy Pelosi. It's a bad guy throwing at bad guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, boy.
Wow.
I wasn't as happy that the Astros were getting beamed. I almost started to want to take their side because I can't stand Joe Kelly.
You know that, Scottie D, that joke was almost, that was almost perfect. But you said Sarah Palin throwing at Sarah Palin. It should be more like Sarah Palin throwing at Doris Burke. Did that work?
Oh, Doris Burke.
Oh no. I'm taking the spoon from you, B-Lab, because you ain't doing nothing but stirring up the damn pot. Stirring up the pot.
Oh man, I love it.
Oh man, but yeah, man, this whole thing with baseball, man, they got to figure something out. But the Joe Kelly was absolutely funny. And matter of fact, Scottie D said, you know, if he ever sees Joe Kelly in the streets, oh, it's home like a pot of neck bones. Understand that. Also,
he got 8 games for that. That's a big suspension in a 60-game season.
Yep. I think like 8 games. I ain't gonna lie to you. Him getting suspended, yeah, but 8 games. I think 8 games is a little corny.
Here's the thing. This is typical Rob Manfred, not reacting when he should, and now overreacting. He wants to set the precedent that he's going to try to protect the Houston Astros from potentially 95 miles per hour getting hit. That's not comfortable. It's not safe. So
no.
I
but he didn't hit anybody.
But true. But
he didn't hit anybody, and he probably could have if he really wanted to, but he didn't.
Didn't that clear the benches, or was there another game where the benches?
Oh no,
they came off.
It cleared the benches. There was no social distancing.
None whatsoever. just social breathing. I'm gonna fight you. What you looking at? Wear your mask. I don't know. Right now. Yeah, I mean, you just have to. I'm telling you, man, Rob Manfred, man, I would not want to be in the position of power that he's in right now, because you got to deal with this whole Astro situation, and then you had to deal with the stuff just to get the damn season started, and now you got to deal with Joe Kelly and his hijinks and something called coronavirus. The unenviable position of MLB commissioner Rob Manfred.
Well, most of this stuff is he make you make your bed, you sleep in it. A lot of this is still just him and his ineptitude. Like, but it is what I'm not gonna bash the man any more than we have done in the past 70 episodes, because we've given him a nice dosage of dumbassery. So I ain't gonna do it anymore. Well, I lied, but something else is gonna happen next week, and we're gonna call him a dumbass again. Dump button, my bad. Eddy Kool, Amtrak.
No, that's not a 4-letter word of power like you said the other week. But I digress. Well, yeah. So we got baseball. Hopefully we can have the season can continue. The NBA and the NHL, we are very happy about that. And now here comes the what is it called? The My Buddy, the My Friend Award. We're going to talk about the NFL top 100 players going into the 2020 season. In case you forgot, don't know what's going on. Every year, right around training camp, the NFL players, they vote on who they think is the top 100 players in the league. We're not going to go through 100, but what I'm going to do is take the time to name 10 through 1, and there's something that we don't agree on, and we'll opine about it. Number 10, it is the 2019 rushing yards leader, Derrick Henry. 3-time Pro Bowler from the New England Patriots, Stephon Gilmore, comes in at number 9.
Boo! Oh, my bad.
Shut your mouth.
My bad.
DeAndre Hopkins comes in at number 8.
Yay!
George Kittle comes in at number 7. Run CMC comes in at number 6.
Yes, sir.
Michael Thomas, can't guard Mike. He comes in at number 5.
Ooh.
Patrick.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop.
Come on. Patrick Mahomes, he comes in at number 4. Yeah, the guy that just got a big old money contract, $500 million, Super Bowl MVP. We're gonna put a pin on that. Number 3. 2-time defensive NFL Player of the Year and the 2018 sacks leader, Aaron Donald, comes in at number 3. Number 2 is 7-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson, and number 1 is the current reigning NFL MVP Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens. Fellas, what's wrong with this list?
Number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Here's the problem. He got hurt, so I'm assuming that's the reason why his ranking got hurt. But there's no way that any rational human being can sit here and say that Russell Wilson is better than Patrick Mahomes. I think this is. I'm gonna try to play devil's advocate. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I think the only reason why it's being said by the players is this is the players. So I mean, they have a little bit more of a thought process of this. So, I guess they're giving Russell Wilson that credit because he really, no, I can't do it. I can't play devil's advocate because I think I think DK Metcalf is the next rising star. Like, he had people to throw the ball to. The offensive line might have been a little shaky, and Russell Wilson has made he's made miracles happen, but
made chicken salad out of chicken. You know the rest of it.
Chicken.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's the only thing that could possibly be there. It's just the fact that Russell Wilson made miracles happen with a lesser team than Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes had Yes. Here's the thing. He has studs, but I think Patrick Mahomes made them studs. I mean, they're speedsters, but like McCole Hardman wasn't a household name. Sammy Watkins, he's my dude. I mean, all roads lead to that. All roads lead to Dabo. So I mean, Tyreek Hill is just ridiculous with it. I would hate to be a cornerback trying to guard that little. Come back here. Where you running off to?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Travis Kelce is that dude. So I mean, maybe it's just because Patrick Mahomes had better weapons.
Yeah, but he gets them. He gets it to him, and he's precise with his passing, and he's cool and calm under pressure, and he can move out of the pocket. And Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson can do those things, but not as good as Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson's not as good of a passer as Mahomes. I don't think Russell Wilson is either. They're both fantastic quarterbacks, and I know that the players in the league are the that are voting. They're competing against these guys, and there's a certain respect factor that probably some of them have, and leads into that voting. I mean, Aaron Donald at number 3 is Aaron. I mean, this is kind of relative because they're not playing the same position, but is Aaron Donald better at being a defensive end than Patrick Mahomes is better at being a quarterback? And I think the answer is no. That doesn't mean Aaron Donald's not the best defensive player in the league. I just think Patrick Mahomes at this point is like a transcendent kind of player. He is the guy that is taking the NFL forward at this point. He's the face of the league, and he backed it up by winning an MVP and Super Bowl in his 3rd year. I mean, well, he was MVP in his 2nd year, correct?
Yeah, he was league MVP and then now Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah,
right. So his first full year as a starter, he's the most valuable player. In his second full year, he's won a Super Bowl, delivered a franchise that hasn't had a Super Bowl in 40, almost 50 years. He delivered them a title, delivered one to Andy Reid. This guy is making things happen that, Kansas City fans have just only dreamt of in the past. And I don't think he's done. I don't think this guy is going to be a guy that retires with 1 ring. I mean, he's that good. He really is that good. And, I think Lamar Jackson is very, very exciting. He's got the speed and he'll take off and run. But we've seen that kind of thing before with quarterbacks like Michael Vick before. He was the most electric guy on the field, but ultimately injuries catch up with you when you're that much of a runner. Happened to Robert Griffin III. I mean, he looked like an incredible quarterback in his rookie year and never could be healthy again after that. Lamar Jackson, hope he avoids injury and goes on and has a great career. But I think ultimately that style of play gets caught up with defensive coordinators. And I thought that of Russell Wilson when he first began his NFL career, but I think he's adapted and become a very, very good passer. I could almost buy that more than I could Lamar Jackson. That's just my personal opinion on it. But I think Patrick Mahomes is definitely the player in the NFL, bar none.
Yeah, I don't know how come Patrick Mahomes is not like top 3 in his list. Like, I don't know why he's not, top 3 in his list. I mean, he got hurt. Yeah, so what? But the man bounced back and had a hell of 5 playoff run and had a hell of 5 seasons before he got hurt. I mean, the game catches up to you. I mean, it catches up to you because you remember how the RPO was the big deal when you had Cap and Cam and RG3 running that, and then what happened was the league caught up and everything slowed down. So with Patrick Mahomes, having multiple years under his belt being a starter, like the league, they thought they caught up with him, but then he said, "No, I'm about to blow past you. Watch this."
So let me ask you guys this question too. Julio Jones came in at 11. He was the 3rd receiver on the list. He's behind Hopkins and Michael Thomas. How do you guys think that shakes out?
That's a good assessment. I don't like Julio Jones. I don't like Atlanta. I like DeAndre Hopkins. All roads lead to Dabo. I really don't like Michael Thomas. Okay, maybe I'm being irrational. I'm being a little irrational. Let me bring the sports analyst out real quick. I think a lot of this when they did these rankings, I think is really based solely on 2019 performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is based solely on that because it just has to be. Because Julio Jones, I think, is the best wide receiver in the league. I think I will put him first. I put DeAndre Hopkins second. I put Michael Thomas. Honestly, I wouldn't put him third. I know you can't guard the man, but I mean, he's a volume catcher. He 5 yards down the field, slam. 5 yards down the field.
Go.
You're right. Like there's he has the stats he does because literally he's unguardable like the first 5 to 10 yards. So I mean, I think Julio Jones has a more diverse array of talent. Like he can go get it wherever you put it on the field. So I agree with Scottie D's assessment. I'm glad that DeAndre Hopkins was ranked better than Stephon Gilmore because Stephon Gilmore went to that sorry other school in South Carolina.
Your mouth.
There I go being irrational again. Can you tell just how when it comes to the teams I love that I really love my teams?
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm over here looking at Julio Jones. I mean, think about it. I'm looking at how many years did he average this season. In 2013, he had 116 yards a game, 106 yards a game, 116, 110, 90, 104, and 92. So this dude is averaging like, not no less than like 90 some yards a game. Other than his first 2 years where he had 73 and 74 yards a game, but he just kept getting better and better and better. I mean, I remember I was sold. I'm like, Julio Jones, whatever. But then there was that one time I went to that one game and saw him live, and I was like, yeah, that's the real boy there. That's the real deal. Like, yes, I'm a Panthers fan. Hey, but real got to recognize real, and he's a real one. So, yeah,
he's number one. Receivers go.
Yeah, because people, Julio. I mean, people just. I've heard some people say, Julio Jones is overrated. I'm like, well, find me a more consistent receiver within the last 5 to 6 years. The only problem was for a period of time, I think it was either last season or the year before, Julio couldn't find the end zone. Well, that's because Matt Ryan's line was just atrocious, horrible.
And then there's always 28-3 to be that close to a Super Bowl victory. God,
never forget. Here's what I tell people: 2 things. I said, if you want to know how to beat the Patriots, watch the AFC Championship game from 2015 when it was the Broncos versus the Patriots. That's how you beat the Patriots. Now, if you want to give the Patriots the Super Bowl, watch the second half of that Super Bowl of the Patriots and the Falcons. Because there ain't no way in the world you're supposed to have a team down that big just to be like, we going to take the foot off the pedal. Run the ball, Kyle Shanahan. Quit being cute. That's what you get for being cute. You didn't learn that in Atlanta? Now you're doing the same thing in San Francisco? Man, you know what? In the words of the Almighty Be Live, I digress. Yes, fellas. So we agree that number one is subject to question, right?
I won't say that. Lamar Jackson. Now we automatically attribute him to being electric, running the ball. He did pass for over almost 4,000 yards. I mean, he's well deserving of the MVP title. I think he's deserving of the top player. It's just the fact that I was more Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and because at the end of the day, we know that Patrick Mahomes is the best player overall. Yeah. But the last season, which a lot of this is based on, Lamar Jackson he was it. He had the it factor. He passed the ball just as good as the others as well. It's just we sort of get lost in that whole dual threat quarterback that we start looking at him as a runner. But he did throw the ball exceptionally well. One thing I like to say about Lamar Jackson that is very unfortunate about him is that he knows how to get the individual awards but he has trouble getting the team award because he won the Heisman in college.
You just couldn't wait.
I could do it. I really couldn't do it.
We're ready to move on to the next topic, and you just have to bring up.
Finish it, be live. Just tell
let it go.
Tell them.
Go ahead. Do what you got to do.
I'm just saying. Lamar Jackson won the Heisman, but didn't even come close to the national championship that my boy Deshaun Watson did. And I thought Deshaun Watson should have had that Heisman. But I'm saying, but we got the big trophy, and then of course MVP last year. But then ran into that house, Derrick Henry, run the ball.
Do you feel better that you got
absolutely? It took almost 80 minutes last week for me to get to all roads. I got to give you like a triple dose today.
Yeah, you threw it in there twice. And speaking of Derrick Henry, we're going to move along to our favorite section of the show. And with that being said, Ayo Button, hit it.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and lovely Miss Button for introducing our favorite section of the show, the choices of the voices section. Look, it's episode 70. And as always, she ain't lying. She telling the truth. You know what time it is. You know the girl ain't got no right to lie. She ain't got no right to lie. None whatsoever. Our favorite portion of the show, choices of the voices. And with that being said, Scottie D, what's the question for this week's choices of the voices?
Well, we asked our listeners to tell us, as an NFL fan, which of these running backs scares you the most as an opponent. We gave the three options of Christian McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers, Saquon Barkley of the G-Men, and Derrick Henry, the Beast from Tennessee. We also put out Shaminga Biakabatuka just so I could say it, but he's off the list. So of those three guys, we had some pretty good responses there, Eddy Kool.
Yep, we have some pretty good responses, and here we go. We got Stephen Delamore. What's going on, man? Everything is fine and dandy. He says, CMC, the most dangerous weapon in the league. We can't deny that because, 1,000 yards running, 1,000 yards receiving. Yeah, he's a real deal. He's a real boy. Joe Gafkin, he said, Henry is a straight-up tank. Barkley destroys the potato skins twice a year, but I'll give the edge to McCaffrey. Okay.
Shout out to the potato skins.
Nice.
Shout out to Joe. Martin Tracy, he said, they're all beasts on the field, and I just can't decide. So I'm taking my analysis to the streets, and in a street fight, I think I would fear Derrick Henry the most. So for that reason, my pick is Derrick Henry. And I think he had a picture to accompany that, too. Yeah, Derrick Henry. Yeah, he's a big old boy. Uncle Max, he said, Derrick Henry is a beast. He's a physical freak and very fast. He can run over or get around defenders. The best stiff arm in all of football. All right. And Tom Wynn, he said, I vote Christian McCaffrey above. Seems he can do it all. Tony Bella said, judging last season, I would have to say Christian McCaffrey all day. Rich Metzger, he said, as an armchair fan of Penn State, I'm going to have to go with Saquon Barkley. If I was playing cornerback in my prime, I'd be the dude with the BB gun, and Derrick Henry would be the freight train.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a lot of Maine coming at you. Trey Dizzle, here we go. He says, the question wasn't who is the best weapon or receiving running back, etc., etc. The question was who instills the most fear. If anyone says anything other than Derrick Henry, you're either blind or you're McCaffrey or Barkley's parents. Ouch.
Well played, Dizzle. Well played.
Old Trey always got a little bit of an opinion to go with his answers.
Yep. And did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody. I think for the first time in the history of the world, fellas, I kept it on the page and they had to go through 9 pages. It makes my life so much easier. So, shout out to Stephen, Joe, Martin, Tracy, Uncle Max, Tom Wynn, Tony Bella, Richard Metzger, and Trey Dizzle for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Now, we turn it over to get the answers of the co-host. Scottie D, of the three, who you got?
Well, as a Cowboy fan, facing Barkley twice here always scares me. McCaffrey can do it all. There's no bad answer here, but as I really came down to the wire here, Tennessee finally started to figure out to give the ball to Derrick Henry, and good things happened. He carried them through the playoffs last year. Let's just be honest about it. He was their team. And when you talk about the speed of the other guys, if Derrick Henry is capable of running a 99-yard touchdown, he's got enough speed to be a diesel running back in addition to just being a bruiser. So I'm going to pick him because I can't imagine if you're a corner and you see him coming with a full head of steam on the outside one-on-one, you're going to be you'll do like Dion said, make a business decision, maybe might not want to throw your shoulder into this guy if he's coming at you full speed ahead. But I don't know if we talked about this before, guys, but have you ever heard about the numbers that this guy had as a high school player?
It was crazy. He ran for 500 yards a game.
His final career totals were 12,000 yards, 12,124. He averaged 252 rushing a game. And in his senior year, he had 4,261 yards, and he averaged 327. I mean, that's not even
that's ridiculous.
That's trying to understand eternity. You just can't wrap your mind around what kind of numbers those are. And you got to believe there had to been times they pulled him. If you got a guy that's running for 327 yards a game, chances are there's a few points on the board for you, and you pull your guy out of the fourth quarter and let the sophomores play.
Yeah,
that is unbelievable stats. But for a couple years there, because I had him on my fantasy football keeper league, I was wondering why this guy wasn't getting the ball more. I think this first year, his rookie year, he had DeMarco Murray splitting carries with him, which was kind of understandable. But this guy, they finally figured out, let's just feed this guy the ball and let's go from there. And that's why I think he's the scariest of those three.
Yep.
If I was a high schooler, Derrick Henry. Averaging 300 rushing yards. I'm men among boys. All right, here's the thing. My answer is going to be two-sided because it depends on who you are on the defensive side of the ball. Saquon Barkley is a balance. He's a balanced attack. He can catch out of the backfield. He can run the ball with power. And he instills fear across the board. Christian McCaffrey is a nightmare for defensive linemen and linebackers. Because it's one of those things, 9 times out of 10, it's a linebacker that's trying to guard this little something and trying to see where he's going and how he's going to do it. And it's just impossible.
That's a mismatch.
Yeah. So it's just like that. You see your lineup. If you're running man, it's usually if you're running man defense, it's usually a linebacker, and that linebacker's got to be like, oh my God, why I got to guard this? I'm just saying. Yeah. When it comes to Derrick Henry, he instills fear in defensive backs, and safeties, cornerbacks and safeties, because dude, if he second level Derrick Henry. Oh, it's a nightmare. He's just grown. Have you seen that one picture? I can't remember who he was standing next to. It was a defensive player for the Titans, and he was a foot taller than this dude. He's just
yeah, he's a monster.
It was Deion Lewis. It kind of like I know y'all remember the movie Twins, right?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
Derrick Henry's just a big boy. It's one of those things. He's built like a defensive lineman. So you know what I'm saying? They come together like butt cheeks. But I mean, his speed, his speed. That's why he's a running back and not a defensive lineman. Dude is built. But that's what I'm saying. It depends. If I'm a linebacker, if I'm a defensive lineman, I fear Christian McCaffrey because speed kills, and the dude is he can do it all. If I'm a defensive back, Derrick Henry instills the most fear in me. So,
what about fan? Who would you most be afraid to beat your team?
Christian McCaffrey.
Okay,
If I
fair
if I
enough.
was if I was a defensive coach, it'd be Christian McCaffrey. Because when it comes to Derrick Henry, I just stack the box. You'd have to beat me throwing the ball. I'm putting 8, 9 in the box every play. Every play.
Fair enough.
Yep, you got to stack that box. All right, here we go. Now I've taken some time to think about this one, and then somebody threw in a name, and I won't forget him because he was just huge. You remember a guy by the name of Brandon Jacobs?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Brandon Jacobs was 6'4" and 264 pounds. Like, and he was a running freaking back. A whole run. Like, who does that? A whole running back. And the guy had, he had 2,000-yard seasons, a couple Super Bowl rings. But when I look at, so I'm going back to go forward. Saquon Barkley is that combination of size and speed. Have you seen this guy's legs?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you seen his legs?
Yeah.
Like when they talk about a guy that's powerful and can run, you look at a guy like him and look at old videos of Earl Campbell.
Yeah, he does. He can churn it out.
Yeah, like he can. Like I remember his senior year watching him because I live in Big Ten country. Watching him play, I forgot who it was, and it was Penn State. It was a night game, and Saquon was just all over the place. They had no answer for him. He was just all over the place. Saquon is a whole problem. Like, he's just strong and he ain't doing nothing but getting better. I mean, yeah, he had a rough year because he got injured, but other than that, Saquon ain't got nowhere to go but up. Christian McCaffrey of my beloved Carolina Panthers. The last time the Carolina Panthers had a running back this good, it might have been Shamunga Biakbatuka. No. It was D'Angelo Williams, and of course him and Jonathan Stewart. They were known as Double Trouble. They raised hell all up and down the NFC South for years and years and years. Christian McCaffrey is just a matchup nightmare. Because if your line, like B-Live alluded to earlier, if your linebacker ain't fast enough, forget about it. Because what you want to do as a defense is put your fastest guy on him, and then again, he'll blow by him too. Or ask Clay Matthews, that's that wheel route, that's that real route. Or you've been watching film too, huh? Watch this.
Love it.
Yeah, old to Cam Newton on that one. So Christian McCaffrey provides matchup problems. He's a smaller running back, but he can catch the ball and he can run the ball, and he's fast. If you blink, it's over with. So he definitely is a problem. But I can't mention Brandon Jacobs without mentioning the champ, King Henry himself, Derrick Henry. This man is big. This joker is huge. He is 6'3" and 247 pounds. He's big, but he's lean and he's fast. As Scottie D said earlier, listen, his senior season, he averaged 327.8 yards a game in his senior season. And he finished his senior season with over 4,000 yards. So Derrick Henry is a classic case of one of them kids that grew up and he always been big. He ain't never been little. He came out the womb, had a growth spurt, wore husky sizes, and now at the age of 10, he was already 5'11". So exactly. So when it comes to running backs, man, I'm gonna have to say Derrick Henry because as y'all said, when it's you versus Derrick Henry and you're the last line of defense, you're gonna have to make a business decision. Either you're gonna have to try to go for him or you're gonna wind up on a poster. And once he gets going, he's hard to stop. And just imagine being the opposing defense, because a big running back like him, they get stronger during the third and the fourth quarter when the defense is already wore down. Look at that big run he ripped off against the Texans to clinch the rushing title. He beat him up. He had him right where he wanted him. Dink and dunk here, we're going to pass here. But that third and fourth quarter, Derrick Henry, you've done enough damage, go ahead and take it to the house. He's a big, punishing running back. And, I'm if it's me and Derrick Henry, I'm going to have to bring a stick. And be like, guess what his middle name is? Lamar. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to roll Derrick Henry, man. That's a main. He was forever a main. He
I
ain't
think that was what most answers went that way.
Yeah,
Just make you wonder why it took so long in Tennessee to figure out just to feed the guy the ball and let him do his thing, because he's a man among boys out there. Like, I couldn't even imagine seeing him run over a high school sophomore junior, because he's so big. But much respect. I like Derrick Henry too. I mean, I think he's a very likable guy, and
yeah,
he was a Heisman winner, right?
Yeah, he was a Heisman winner. Yeah, he's a Heisman winner, man. He was a bad dude, man. He's in a good way.
But he didn't deserve it because he didn't go to Clemson. So it's amazing that he got it.
Wow. See, I ain't say all that.
Shots fired.
I ain't say all that.
That's fired. Yeah, Derrick Henry. Scottie D, you saying what took them so long to figure out how to use Derrick Henry? The same amount of time it took Tennessee to figure out that Marcus Mariota was not the answer. And I don't know why the hell they gave Ryan Tannehill $100 million. And
because Henry made him look good. He opened it up for him last year. So he needs to tip him out. The way you do it at a restaurant, he should get a tip out for that, for helping on that call.
And that's one of the bigger conundrums I've ever thought about in my life. How in the hell they give Ryan Tannehill $100 million and Dak is like, I can't get no money. Look.
All right.
Yeah, but that's another story for another day. And Scottie D, what's the question for next week's Choices of the Voices?
All right, next week's going to be a little bit of a broader topic, but here is the question. What professional athlete, could be from any sport, but what pro athlete did you feel saw his career potential robbed by injuries? Now, this could be somebody that still had a successful career otherwise, but you just thought, man, it would have been so much better had he not gotten hurt. And there's one obvious one. I think there's one guy that comes to the top of everyone's mind.
Yep.
When his career got robbed by injury, a guy who knew football and knew baseball. We can talk a little bit more about that guy next week, because I'm sure he's going to be at the top of everyone's list. But there's a lot of guys out there who, through the years, you can say, man, this dude was really going to be special, and the injuries just robbed him of being that next generation talent. So we'll kick some of those ideas around next week.
All right, we're going to figure out who was the best that probably could have been on next week's edition of the Choices of the Voices. Thanks for everybody for participating. And once again, the wonderful and lovely Miss Button, we can't tell you thank you enough for lending your vocal abilities to introduce our favorite section of the show, the Choices of the Voices. But we're rounding third base, and we're trying our best not to slip and fall in the spirit of baseball. And we're going to play a round of pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really. I'm going to give you some history facts. I got some good one this week. And then the guys, they're going to give you some other stuff. And it's going to be entertaining, enlightening, and all that good stuff. So here we go. I'll go first. Y'all gonna like this one. On this day in history, back in 1909, MLB umpire Tim Hurst instigates a riot by spitting in the face of A's second baseman Eddy Kool, who had questioned the call. Balls and strikes. I'm just arguing. He spit in the man's face, but guess what though? Him hawking that loogie, it got him a lifetime ban.
Oh.
Hawking a loogie is something you damn sure can't do now more than ever. Over to you, Scottie D.
Man, a lifetime ban for saliva, huh?
And he was. And my thing is, why was he still standing up?
All right. Well, in Major League Baseball, we had quite a performance from the Beeb, Shane Bieber. Opening day.
Is that his music? Is that his music in the background?
I'm hearing some Bieber. Opening day, Bieber had 14 Ks against Kansas City in his second outing against the Twins last week. Shane Bieber of the Indians, 13 Ks. So Shane Bieber now has 27 Ks in his first 2 starts. That's better than Nolan Ryan's American League record of 25 back in 1978. And just a little bonus here, Tyler Alexander of the Tigers came into the game on Sunday against the Reds and struck out 9 straight batters. That was 1/4 of the Major League Baseball record of 10 by Tom Seaver. So a couple very impressive early pitching performances from Tyler Alexander and the Beebs. Over to you, B Live.
All right. the Beebs. So this is going to be a little bit controversial because some people feel strongly one way, the other way, blah, blah, blah. I just want to make this perfectly clear. My stance is neutral when I speak of this, and keep your opinions to yourself. Anyway, the Pac-12 conference, the football players, are threatening to boycott, and they have a list of demands in a letter to the Pac-12. And some of the demands include 50% of revenue go to all, like, to the players of their respective sports. Also, they want to get an additional year of eligibility and scholarship because of the looming threat. And those are the really tipping points. There's a couple other things that they asked for as well. I'm actually trying to pull it up right now, and my laptop is being crazy. But long story short, this is unprecedented times, and people are standing up for many different things. But here's the issue and the problem that I have with this. It's going to be disproportionate. There are schools right now that are shutting down all of their athletics because they don't have the money. There's programs like, I think just recently, I think Stanford, I can't remember the exact sport off the top of my head, but simply put is like, some things work, some things don't. Like, the revenue that's being generated goes to many different factors. It goes to the school, that goes in turn into the professors that teach these kids, and it also goes to the scholarship that these kids earn and everything. There's so much this goes into play when it comes to talking financials, when it comes to revenue in college sports. I think college sports should still be on the amateur level. There should be more that probably goes into maybe facilities and stipends and stuff like that do help kids out. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be disproportionate, and that's why paying athletes hasn't really ever worked or anything like that. Because next thing you know, then you're gonna start talking about booster money, and then you're really gonna be the competitive balance will be completely lost. But I get some of the points, but I don't know. This is a developing story. We shall see. Eddy Kool, the ball.
As they say, it's fluid. Yeah, I learned the definition of fluid recently because the water is not still. It is very fluid. And this day in history, back in 1984, American athlete Carl Lewis wins the 100 meter in 9.9 seconds in Los Angeles, California. Is the first of 9 gold medals over 3 games. Carl Lewis, you can run like a mug, but we ain't gonna ask you to sing no national anthem. Over to you, Scottie D.
Now that's an anthem that should have been boycotted right there.
Facts.
And the Rocket.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was
legendary. Yeah. Speaking of legends, the World of Sports lost a legend this past week. Harvey Updike passed away at age 71. Who's Harvey Updike? Well,
who's Harvey Updike?
Harvey Updike, just to refresh your memory, was the die-hard Alabama fan who in 2013 pled guilty to applying herbicide to the trees at the Auburn University's Tumors Corner. Just to recap, he called in the Paul Feinbaum show and ratted himself out. He told him, I poisoned those trees, roll damn tide. And he was sentenced to 70 days in jail. He ended up being fined $800,000, of which he only paid $6,900. And this past week, he passed away due to natural causes. This was confirmed by his son, Bear. Be Live, over to you.
All right. One thing that I wanted to actually highlight that we spoke of a little bit earlier, well, I mean, the greatness of Derrick Henry, that I did not even know that not only he holds multiple records. His 12,000 yards rushing is a national high school record.
Wow.
Over 800 yards more than a record that dates back to 1950. So, yeah. He is a national record. And also we spoke of that 99-yard touchdown run, which is an NFL record, which, I mean, you can't really run any further. But just the fact that he has the wheels to do that and the strength, I mean, he's a bad man. Christian McCaffrey still scares me more as a defensive coach, but there's nothing to take away from the house that is Derrick Henry. Eddy Kool, the ball.
Yeah, either you're gonna tackle or slide to the left. I'm gonna slide. I'm a big dude. I wouldn't want to tackle him now, and I got some weight on me. I probably got a good about maybe 15 to 20 pounds on him. I don't want no parts of that. I ain't gonna lie to you. On this day in history, in 2007, Barry Bonds, that's right, he homers off of Clay Hensley in the second inning in a 3-2 loss to the San Diego Padres and ties Hank Aaron's then 33-year-old record of 755 home runs. And then it wasn't too long where Barry Bonds broke the record, and it is his, asterisk or not. Over to you, Scottie D.
My favorite baseball player of all time, Barry Bonds. Love him. All right, guys, I was excited I am excited, I should say, because this is going to be a big week in golf. This past weekend, Justin Thomas won the WGC FedEx St. Jude Memphis tournament. He won by he had a one-stroke lead over Brooks Koepka, who then baptized his ball on the 18th fairway. And that victory moved Justin Thomas into the number one spot. He replaced Jon Rahm, who had just taken that spot a week ago. So now we are in the week of our first major tournament of the year, the PGA Championship. At one point the fourth major, at one point the second major. This year it's the first major. It's going to be interesting to see if we have a first-time winner, a young Abraham Answer, Victor Hovland, Xander Schauffele, one of these guys, or one of the veterans. Rory has not won a major in quite some time. Brooks Koepka has won this tournament back-to-back years. Jon Rahm looking for his first major. Guys, I'm going to go with Justin Thomas. I'm going to say he's going to win it. It's very hard to win a PGA tournament, let alone do it in back-to-back weeks, but I think Justin Thomas has what it takes. He's my pick for the PGA Championship next week. Be live. Over to you.
Yes, I'm going Tiger Woods. I don't know. I still just threw that out there.
Brooks.
But shout out my man Dustin Johnson, CCU. Hopefully he does well. All right. This my third pepper point is near and dear to my heart, down to my core. And I'm gonna call some people out.
Uh-oh.
The Southeastern Conference. It just means more. I want you to do what I call a simple dose of shut the hell up. It just means more. The ACC left a window open for certain rivalries between the ACC and the SEC to continue by having one non-conference game. And it was, I understand that not everybody has a out-of-conference rivalry, but it's anything. Pick a small school in your state. That was the clause that the ACC put in, is that, hey, a team in your state has to be in your state. But let's keep some of these rivalries going. And the SEC said, nope, we're just going to stay in conference, which will successfully end the rivalries of your Louisville, Kentucky, Georgia Tech, Florida State, and the big one, the Palmetto Bowl, Clemson versus South Carolina.
Yeah, I'm not watching college football this year. I'm done.
I cannot believe you, SEC. Why are you afraid of this one game? But I will say this to the Coot Nation, the Gamecock Nation. Guess what?
What?
the streak does not end. It will now be 7 years that you have not been able to beat my Clemson Tigers. And as always, hashtag all roads lead to Dabo. All in. I bleed orange. Yes, sir.
We too shallow.
Deep.
That's okay. I'll be all right. I'll be fine. I'm just mad that this is one of the this is the time of the year where I start looking forward to games such as the Carolina Clemson rivalry. But yeah, SEC, you've done us another great favor. Yeah. Well, anyways, with that being said, it's been another episode of the Sports Bros podcast in the books, episode number 70. We're inching closer to episode 100, but we got to do 71 before we get to 100. But you get what I mean. But before we go, we want to wish a happy birthday to John Riggins, former Reds bleepity bleep running back. Yeah, see, I had to. Yeah, I'm leaving that one in. Yeah.
WTF, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Of the Washington, WTFs. Roger Clemens, who was born on this day in 1962, and he made 1,001 left turns. Jeff Gordon, who was born in 1971. And with that being said, Scottie D, where can they find you?
You'll find me on the porch in Washington, Pennsylvania. You can look me up on Facebook, Scott Donnelly. Love to have some friends on Facebook.
Yep. I think, Scott, what'd you say about doing Zoom trivia? You want to do a Zoom trivia?
No, I don't.
Okay. Be live. Where can they find you?
Right now, due to the hurricane, you can't find me in St. Louis. Where the gun? No. But check this out. You've been listening to us 70 episodes. You know you can find me at Max Speed Shop. You can find me on Facebook, Brian Livingston. You know about the beers and the burgers and all that. Yes, sir. Come holla at your boy. When it comes to the Sports Bros podcast, you can find us on our Facebook like page. You can find us on Instagram, Sports Bros Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Sports Bros PCast. You can check out my main man, Eddy Kool, and I might slide in the story myself from time to time, try a little writing something on our WordPress webpage, Sports Bros the Sports Bros Podcast.wordpress.com. If you have any questions, concerns, comments about the show, you can always email us at sportsbrospcast@gmail.com. You can also go and find us on YouTube. I gotta get us updated on YouTube. We're gonna keep it going. You can find some of our full episodes on there as well as some of our funny videos that we put together. Waiting on Scott's thoughts at any point in time on the porch. I'm just saying. All right, cool. Also, I wanted to take this opportunity to recognize two of our listeners, and also appreciation to both of them, to Joe Gaffigan and Carrie Lekmonic, I do believe.
Yeah, Carrie, if we butcher your name, honey, we're sorry.
Yeah, it happens. But
you know it's all love, and thank you.
But we definitely want to take this time to tell you thank you for the recommendation. We ask all of our listeners to do so as well, because we want to take this to the next level. And the more support that we get, whether, like I said, ratings, recommendations, that goes a very long way. So please take a moment, go to our Facebook like page, recommend the Sports Bros podcast. We greatly appreciate it, and it helps us learn what our listeners want. And if you can't tell by now, we try to give you what you want. Mm-hmm. So hey, let us know, recommend us. Hey, shoot us an email. Hey, we also at some point in time we're gonna look for guests on the show and everything. We want to grow, so we appreciate the Sports Bros family. Thank you so much.
Yep, we want to grow, and then that leaves me the HOC up in this THAN to the G. I go by the name of Eddy Kool. You can catch me out on Snapchat. That's if you do that. That's Super Cool 5000. Instagram, Cool Season, all one word. And you can also check me out on the Facebook, social media, all over the place. The Twitter, the Instagram, the Facebook, the YouTube. Oh yeah, check out my my latest Tranquilo Thursday video filmed in the car, because it be like that sometimes. As I tell you why I had a change of heart about Lou Williams. And I'm not mad at him. And why you should be mad at Lou Williams as well, too. Also, thank you for your support. If you got the link to my online writing portfolio, check it out. Help me get a real big boy job. I love what I do, and I do what I love, and it's all for y'all. It's all for y'all. Yeah, I'm everywhere, worldwide. Facebook, yes. Sports Bros Podcast. Show us some love. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, bust up them 5 stars. Give us 5-star reviews. I don't care what you put in the reviews. Just said Eddie said so. Scott says do better. B-Line says all roads lead to Dabo. The Sports Bro says it never rains in Western Pennsylvania, but it can't stop raining in Western Pennsylvania. It's hot. I love Jesus. Whatever you want to do, just put it there. We greatly appreciate it. And to our listeners, we love you and we thank you so very much for listening to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Anything before we get up out of here and watch some wrestling, fellas?
Let's go Penn.
Yes, I don't think he's watching wrestling, and we're definitely not watching the Penn. So, all right, podcast divided. Woohoo!
Oh boy,
Let's go Penn.
It's a storm surge, y'all. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They'll greatly appreciate it now, more than ever. And to the Carolinas, please be safe down there. And do your thing and do what you got to do to protect yourself from hurricane. What's the name of it, B-Live? I say it?
Asias.
Aisha,
Asias. Anyways, man, just do what you got to do. Protect yourself. Wear a mask. Don't cough on nobody. Just be good to each other. Yeah, just be good to each other. Be there for each other because you never know what somebody's going through. It's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. We love you. And as always, thanks for listening.
Yes, sir.
let's go Pens.
Boo.
Let's go Canes.